Hello, everyone. Nice to meet all of you here, there, and everywhere.
Друзья, всем привет, всем здрасте. Последнее время.
Welcome on DTV Hosts Assembly. Every Tuesday, we're going to share with you fresh crypto news and discuss all that hot topics with our distinguished persons around. And today we have Catherine Ross. She's gonna spread with us all interesting news around the globe. Catherine, nice to meet you here. Mru Patel, yes, a man who clearly knows what's going on in Europe, in UK, in everywhere. And finally, Gordon Einstein from United States. I think he clearly knows what's going on in the United States and America. And Rico Pang. Rico, please shake your hand. Yes, I know that it's...
Rico!
Yes, Rico, finally. Yes, all around the globe, we are sitting here going to discuss this interesting news. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to start, and we have to start from the lady. Catherine, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Welcome here to Tuesday. Probably everybody is having Tuesday right now. Hopefully, it's still Tuesday. So as Sergey mentioned before, we're going to have new segments on Tuesdays. And I'd like to start right away. And I think it's pretty obvious that I'm going to start with the victorious win of Biden in the presidential elections. So last week, it was Tuesday, so it was the election day. And we were here discussing without you, Gordon.
I was getting torn to shreds on many social media channels. So I've recovered. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So we were sort of trying to guess who's going to win and who is better for the crypto space, which I think most of the participants said that they felt like Trump is going to be better. But we're in a totally different week today, and it's Biden. Even though Trump is not ready to concede yet, he's not accepting the results of the elections. As you can see, he's trying to find legal ground to battle election results. So that's like a very interesting perspective on what's going to happen in the next couple of months in the US. So, that sort of only, I think, in my opinion, influenced the stock market a little bit. Last week, it did have I think it was the best week since April 2020 for the stock. I mean, I'm talking about stock markets in the US. But this week, especially after last night's news on Pfizer developing a vaccine, a COVID-19 vaccine, it sort of influenced the entire market, which was green, except I think Zoom and yeah, for some.
But yet here we are.
The obvious ones.
Yeah, but here we are today, and right before we started the segment, we were discussing the fact that we were looking at different platforms and looking at CoinMarketCap. The crypto space and the crypto industry is a little bit up, but looking at any other different platform is a little bit down. So my question is actually a little bit general. The first one to everyone is, what do you think is going to happen with the markets? Because according to CNBC analysts, what we're having right now is a pretty great and like green sort of wave for stock markets, and at the same time for the crypto markets. But I want to hear your opinion, and I want to hear it, based on some factors. Maybe you do technical analysis, sentiment analysis. Maybe you've spoken to traders, experts, or people who have something to say. So I think we will start with someone who was absent last Tuesday. So Gordon, what do you think is gonna happen with the markets? And I'm talking about traditional financial markets, not only in the US but overall. If it's gonna affect, and the crypto space, obviously.
So let me make a brief mention of the election as it relates to this, and then sort of answer your question. Just to be super clear, the press in the United States isn't in charge of who gets elected president. They're supposed to come out with projections and report what the various Secretary of States and the Electoral College decides. But I was distressed to see not so-and-so is projected as winner, but New York Times, it wasn't even New York Times, there's AP News of all places, Associated Press, which is supposed to be neutral, say that, Biden announced winner by AP News. It's like, I didn't elect AP News. So there's, in my opinion, sitting in my, in my COVID lockdown here in Studio City, Biden won. But I am not physically present in all these polling stations. I am not the courts. I am not the poll watchers. And keep in mind that in 2000, when Bush and Gore had their big legal fight, we gave them 37 days to figure this out. It is, again, I think Biden probably won, but in my opinion, it's premature to say that's the case. And it is always possible that both sides commit fraud. I'm not saying fraud is uniquely the province to anyone. My main concern was fraud at the level where it affected the outcome, or was negligence at the level where it affected the outcome. I think the odds are unlikely, under 20%, but it's not nothing. Okay, it's not nothing. And all this brouhaha in the media about Trump lost and God, why is he raising these issues? I'm like, well, if you believe in democracy, don't you want to validate what happened? The pro-democracy thing is to check to make sure you did it right, not to accept a bad result. And people are saying, how dare you investigate unsubstantiated allegations? Well, I'm like, the whole point of investigating is because they're unsubstantiated. If they were substantiated, you wouldn't need an investigation. It's like this weird 1984 brain. So with respect to the markets, I'm concerned that there's so much sort of mainstream media belief that Trump lost, and this is just a given, that if Trump makes any headway in any court case where the possibility can be reversed, and people start feeling that that's possible, we're going to get back to Antifa and all these other groups going on the street and engaging in political violence that we haven't seen in this country since the 60s, I should say. It's potentially rough. I mean, all this sort of Indian summer, we have the expression, in American English, I don't know if it's in British English, of Indian summer. It's in winter, but it's unseasonably warm. Like, if you're like, why is it warm? It's the middle of December. This could be an Indian summer where it's
nothing
nice
against
now.
Us Indians, right? Nothing against us Indians. Nothing against us
I
Indians.
don't know where it came from. I think it's not the same Indian anymore. It's First Nation summer. Let me be politically correct. But so just with respect to the markets, if it starts looking like we're going to head into a disputed election, that's going to be troubling. And the fact that it's troubling is making relatively conservative guys like me nervous about Trump making progress, even though I surely want an accurate election result. So, it's not over until the fat lady sings, and she hasn't sung yet. The fat lady is the Supreme Court, the case is either going to get there or it's not. If it doesn't get there, fine. If it does get there, Trump has appointed 3 justices out of 9. Okay, he's got most recent one, of course, was Amy Coney Barrett. And they're not his personal servants, they're not his slaves, but they lean conservative in their minds. So we'll see what happens. And imagine the Supreme Court reverses this election. That's going to be fighting in the streets. And just the day of the election, every store around me, I haven't seen this in my lifetime, was boarding up all the glass windows. When you go down Beverly Hills, boarded stores, Rodeo Drive, boarded stores. Because the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter, elements of them are now saying, why are we burning our own neighborhoods? Let's burn everyone else's. I'm like, well, that's very enlightened of you. So I'm concerned with that area. With the Pfizer vaccine, if it's true, that's good news. I don't necessarily want to be the first one to get it. I volunteer other people I don't know, but it's not a given. Like it just happened in Brazil that the Chinese vaccine that was being tested in phase 3, which is pretty far along, got pulled because someone got really sick from it. So, it's not out till it's out, and you don't know what these. We are rushing approval of these things. We don't know what the long-term health effects are. Hopefully, it's low. But when you think about the percentage of people that coronavirus kills, it's not that many. You want to make sure the cure is not worse than the disease. Now, yes, everyone getting out there and working, that's great, and that's the reason for the regular stock market to go up. But the reality is we're in such this debt bubble, and we're only going to make more debt. And it's by the time, let me back up. Suppose this vaccine works, they're not going to have 1 billion shots of it right away, and you probably need multiple shots to make it work. They can give it to they can give it to the government, they can give it to medical staff. By the time it filters out in the general population, it's going to be a solid year. And meanwhile, we're going to be pumping up the economy. So I think we're seeing the decoupling of the crypto space from the traditional economy space. That was already kind of happening. What's been fascinating to me recently is we're seeing the decoupling, what looks like the decoupling of Bitcoin from the rest of the market. And I think that's a contentious point, and I look forward to what other people have to say about this. But fundamentally, if you're looking for a reserve currency store of value crypto, I don't think anything beats Bitcoin yet. I think everything else is useful in its own right. EOS is useful in its own right. Cardano is useful in its own right. Ethereum, I'm looking forward to 2.0. Those are all very functional, interesting platforms. But if you're just looking at currency or replacement for traditional currency for fiat, I think Bitcoin's it, and it has nowhere to go but up.
So to sum up, what you're saying is that actually it's not all good news right now. It's actually pretty uncertain, and we might see a lot more uncertainty around election results and around markets going further to the end of the year.
Yeah, and I don't want to overstate my position. So, look, we're dealing with a rough times nationally in the United States, and we're dealing with rough times internationally. It's not the end of the world yet. It's not a civil war. It's not an apocalypse. Everyone likes to get all dramatic. All these Bitcoin survivors, libertarians are like, it's like, come on. There's kind of a cliche in the United States, which is, some guys, some survival, gets rations, learns how to hunt, learns how to kill bears, forms a militia, waiting for the end of civilization. And you know what? Civilization doesn't end. And his friend who got a normal job and got a mortgage has a nice house and sending his kids to private school. And then they're looking at each other when they're 50 going, honey, what happened to the revolution? Everyone keeps on waiting. It's like waiting for, some elements of the United States want China to fail, and they keep on waiting for it to happen. Well, I've been reading that news for 30 years now, and China hasn't fallen yet. So, don't hold your breath. Okay, and don't hold your breath for a civil war to break out of the United States. Okay, it's a pretty adaptable, robust system. But there is active strain right now, and to have a falsely positive perception that this election is done, or once Biden gets in office, we all love each other. It's all good. We're all friends. Give me a freaking break. We had AOC, saying that, she's drawing up lists of Trump supporters. I'm like, I don't know if I'm a Trump supporter, but put me on that list because there's this rule, I forget what it is on the internet, like the first one to mention Hitler loses, so I'll lose. But Hitler and the Nazis, before they invaded England, made a list of all the people they're going to arrest and round up so that they would quash, dissent before they went in. It's like, what's with you and your list? Go F yourself, lady. McCarthy in the United States had a list, suspected communists. That's not warm and healing and unifying. So I think it's a mixed bag, and we can't go all positive, all negative. We just need to maintain our situational awareness and take everything with a grain of salt. Do your own research. It doesn't mean watching YouTube videos. I mean, it means looking at original data and reading papers. Though, of course, this YouTube video is the best. And so we'll see. So I yacked a little bit. I have some very good friends on this, so I'm gonna pause and let everyone else speak.
Ru, what do you think? I mean, going back to my question is, with the overall positive news over the last weekend and yesterday, what do you think the markets are? Where do you think the markets are going?
So I'll be a little bit more blunt than Gordon has, because he was, as a lawyer and living in America, he can only say X. I'm a global citizen, so I will say it the way it is and how I see it. America has a tendency to call the world corrupt. America is the biggest corrupt nation around. Sophisticated corruption. It happens.
Hold on.
Sophisticated. Let me finish.
So in that sense, Russia is not, I mean, the most corrupt among not.
No.
He's just saying you're not a big deal.
You're no big deal.
He's saying, Putin is like a little brutal compared to.
But yeah, Putin is an amateur. Putin is an amateur compared to what happens in America. Okay.
Do you have a statement to sort of?
Yes, I will give you the statement.
Hey, Muru, I like you a lot, but don't drink BT.
Do you have evidence to support your statement? That's what I'm most interested in.
So let me do that. Okay. These voting frauds have been going on for a century. You go and read some of the stuff which Gordon touched on. The media has no right to call, and I fully agree with all those sentiments he's passed. Media doesn't have a right, but it does influence, if you look at it before the election, through the fake polling, all the way through to even announcing. So when people are still there at the booth, they are calling things and giving fake numbers, so it gets the people on the borderline to change. These are all tactics. That coupled with dead people voting, fake. You've had your say. Excuse me, I'll do a Kamla. I will do a Kamla. Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Dead people voting twice.
I know. So I'll do a Kamla. Excuse me, I'm speaking. And the only part of Kamla is her blood. She's no Indian. All right. Anyway, so coming back to the politics, America is streets ahead, and you see, even if you look at some of the press that is vocal and non-partisan, they tell you even the U.S. Postal Service were in it, dumping votes, people with Sharpies changing things on the spot. I've even seen videos of people doing this. And seeing it from the outside, you say, how has America got the cheek to call the rest of the world, and especially the third world countries, corrupt? They're the biggest corrupt nation there. Now, how does it affect the crypto? Let's get back to our topic. So, in terms of that, I think crypto will get even stronger. Why? Because the world has lost faith in what and how America manipulates the dollar, the pricing. And now with Biden there, and I think Gordon touched on it, the likes of AOC and all these guys are going to pull, the Biden camp to places where the whole market will be all over the place. So people will look for alternative currencies, which are not only stable, but really have a store of value. And yes, Bitcoin will be one of the big players with the biggest market share in the near future. However, everyone has a place, as Gordon said. If you look at crypto now and the China thing as well, China, in my view now, will get even stronger. Watch Chinese economy boom past America in the next 5 years. Watch Indian economy boom past America in the next 10 years. Here's why. Because all the shoddy deals that, and I don't want to get political, all the shoddy deals that happened in the past with the Obama-Biden time, and even Biden during his 47 years, were to help the things like NAFTA and China and all this. And all of a sudden he comes out and says things like, oh, everything's hunky-dory, we will do everything made in USA. Hang on, 47 years you didn't do it. You signed all those deals. So what? So now China will capitalize on it. Chinese yuan and all that will capitalize and dominate in the next 10 years because they're streets ahead. Americans don't like cryptocurrency. End of story. For obvious reasons. So
Americans love cryptocurrency.
No, your politicians. Yeah, your politicians. Okay, so your politicians are the people ruling you guys, and you don't even have the balls to vote the right politicians in who can make it right. So crypto, in my view, will grow even faster. The reason why I love Rico laughing, because he knows I say it as it is. So crypto, in my view, is uh, is going to grow. And November, you can't say because who won in the politics. November has always been a staunch month for most cryptos and most markets as well. The reason why we saw the big Dow movement is the Pfizer thing, and there's a joke going around that Gordon says he won't take the thing, but if Pfizer can make things wake up from the dead, Viagra, it sure has a chance to wake up things that are not dead. Sorry, that was just for you, Gordon.
Well, actually, I think if Pfizer caused those dead voters to get boners and to vote.
There you go.
Oh,
I'm glad you got it. But the Pfizer thing is good for Dow, but not good for NASDAQ. You also, Catherine, touched on the Zooms and Amazon's going down. There's a pure reason, because now the world sees that, hang on, this lockdown won't happen. I won't need deliveries at home, and I won't need to do Zoom calls. I won't do this. I won't do that. So people will unsubscribe from some of these channels. So obviously their revenue goes down. So anything that is online transport, Zooms, all these kind of things that were charging, and Zoom made a fortune in it, of course their stock's going to come down. It's pretty obvious. What's going to go up? Anything to do with medical, food, things like that. And the legal field. Unfortunately, you can't live without bloody lawyers like Gordon. So in good times or bad times, you're going to have to live with lawyers, and you're going to have to live with accountants. So that's probably the most recession-proof business going. And that's my take on it.
Guys, actually, I'm sure that now we have to listen to the Asian Avengers. Really, on the back of the Rico, yes, in the best place to have a word. Yeah.
I warmed him up for a good laugh. Now, Rico, go for it. Get off the line, not like last week. Get off the fence.
What did I miss last week? It sounds epic.
Well, last week he said that I didn't have the balls to speak, and he was saying that I was wearing the Chinese cap, which I was, not.
He was playing a diplomat, staying on the fence.
Well, I still travel to China quite often, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So for everyone who's listening, you're a friend. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, as what I mentioned last week, I was saying something very diplomatic. Whoever wins, it doesn't really matter to the crypto space. That's what I thought. But if things go so bad in the United States in terms of the economy, it's actually good for the crypto space. Sorry to say that, Gordon, but that's the truth, and you know that. And it's already happening over the years. We see a big win for Bitcoin as a store of value. You see a lot of companies putting their money to store in Bitcoin publicly, and public sector companies doing that. I was in a call today with Michael Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, and I was just amazed how he was shilling Bitcoin. I was speechless. I didn't ask any question.
Can you shill Bitcoin, or is Bitcoin just the right thing and you just talked about it?
Yeah, something like that. I was like, thank you for supporting the community with whatever you have done with your company and convincing his shareholders and partners to actually put in the funds to hedge on Bitcoin. And I was amazed that I saw him speaking so passionately about shilling Bitcoin. I was like, oh my God. So it's really happening, and people are starting to wake up that, why are you still keeping cash when the same US dollar is going to depreciate 30% over the next 3 to 5 years? How are you going to deal with that? Even though you have like 100 US dollar, it's going to be like 70 or 60 US dollar worth in the next 3 to 5 years. But people don't realize that, and Bitcoin value is going to go up eventually over the next 50 to 100 years, maybe 10x, 20x, 100x, who knows? It's definitely a better hedge than keeping US dollar. So that message was so strong coming from Michael this morning, and I was quite touched about that.
But it's
and
obvious.
last week,
we know that. It's
Were
obvious.
you
Yeah.
surprised? Yeah. And you know
It's
what?
obvious.
No.
Rico's
It's
not being
different.
provocative.
It's like if like Muru tells me that and Golden tell me that, I was like, yeah, right, we know that. But it's coming from Michael, so it's like it's interesting. I mean, and what I said last week as well was that November is going to be a month for the alternate coins, but it's also good to see that Bitcoin moons together with the alternate coins over the week. We just going to see how bad the dip is supposedly this coming few weeks time. I think that people should be.
Let me throw this out here. I'd re-argue because I made this point before. Bitcoin and almost every other coin represent alternative value propositions. They're different things. The fact that they're crypto is just like saying, well, all money's printed on paper. You know, they're designed differently. They serve different niches. I would not expect them to. I think it was a mistake that Ethereum, like maybe Litecoin a little bit, but Ethereum should always have been valued based on its utility, its functionality. It just, everyone who missed Bitcoin decided, oh God, here's my next chance. But it's a technical, it's a platform. Bitcoin's not a platform in the usual sense. It's different. So I'm not in any way slamming alts. I'm just saying, you don't look at a rhinoceros and an elephant and go, well, why don't they eat the same thing? They work differently on different days. So I guess I want to say I take slight issue with the idea that Bitcoin did this and now the alts are going to do this. It's like two totally different lanes.
Yeah, it's totally different lanes, but to us, other than Bitcoin, everything else is a shitcoin. You can call them whatever you want, but yeah, you may say that there's some function, but still a shitcoin. And shitcoin still has its role to play when US dollar is not going to be valuable anymore in the future.
Sorry, let me ask you. When you say shitcoin, are you saying that negatively or neutrally? Because the word shit has a slight negative connotation in my ear.
Well, depends how you interpret it. To us, it can mean that. It can also mean the other thing, but it's still a shitcoin to us. Well, we'll talk about the shitcoin in the next topic. But what I see that this whole election has been a very good entertainment for us globally, and I think we're gonna miss this fun, with the US election. I don't see so much excitement with the Indian election, with the Chinese election, or with the Russian election. I don't see that much fiasco around it. I mean, globally, this is something that everyone is so excited, and everyone was just stoned for like 3-4 days. Like, let's count the votes.
So yeah, as an American, I think, okay, you guys are probably all too young for this, but I remember in the early 80s when Beirut, Lebanon was not doing so well, okay? And everyone from abroad was like, wow, it's really interesting what's going on there. Look, there's fighting on the streets. Oh, wow. Okay, I feel like everyone outside the United States, all my friends are like, so Gordon, what's it like to live in Beirut? And I'm like, you know what? Thanks, buddies. Thank you, my good
seriously,
friend.
everyone is talking about it, and I was like, nah, this is so fun. I mean, it's just entertainment to us.
It's like a gladiator fight.
We're all so bloody bored.
It is.
Not doing anything at home because we are still in the lockdown in where I am. And except for my friends in China and Dubai, they're partying and they are going to physical conference and events. But most of us are in a lockdown and we have nothing to see, nothing to talk about except for crypto and
American politics.
American politics in particular. So I don't see anybody giving the damn about Indian elections. I mean, do you care?
No.
Do you care?
I think we're being rude to Kirill.
No. Kirill will have.
No. What about Kirill? Yeah. Do you pay attention to the elections in India or in Africa or other parts of the world?
Of course.
I only take care about Russia. It's stable. Almost all my entire life, it's stable. Politician in US.
You must not be a journalist.
No. I have a PR education background. That's why I try to work for both parties. This is what PR actually do in politician.
So he's much more diplomatic than me then.
Yeah.
He is. Kirill's always diplomatic. Kirill's forget about that line. He's a balancing act, with a big pole. But something Gordon said about boarding up and fires and MLMs and TIFAs and all that in LA, New York, and all these places. Look what happened. Biden came, announced, so-called announced, everything off, boards comes off next day. Had it been Trump, there'd be fires
Sorry,
and everything.
that is not true. Sorry, I got to stop you. I'm here.
Fires and everywhere. Everywhere.
Stop. Okay, it is, you're wrong. The boards are not off because people have in their back of their mind, okay, that Trump is going to make headway with these cases. And the amount of anger and disappointment when that happens, if it happens, is massive. And why board up your store twice? The boards are not off.
So many boards in New York are off. Go check it out. Go check it out.
Look, dude, I walked down I'm here.
You're in LA. You're not in New York.
Well,
go and check it out.
Listen,
so many boards are off in New York.
Okay, because some people are dumb. But when Trump, it's not like the right-wing conservatives went on the street and started shooting cops or trashing.
Which is the point I'm making. Which is the point I'm making. Had it not been the other way, and Trump had won properly, you would have seen huge problems there, fires, riots, and all that.
Right. Now, what happens in 4 weeks if Trump is making headway in the courts?
Because you will start that all over again. There's my view. You will find riots out there. Believe me, you will. If Trump wins from this court case, you will see riots in America.
Oh, you will see a huge issue. And by the way, it's
exactly
off the news now.
So tell me now, is it not a screwed up economy, politics, and all that in that country? Yes, that's why China, in my view, will overtake America in the long run. End of story.
You just said 2 + 2 = 4, therefore X. Huh?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Try figuring that out. America, the way it's going with crypto. America, the way it's going with its politics, left, right, centers, AOCs, and all the rest of it, will bring it down in the global space with the economy.
Well, okay, but you're saying something that's already been news for 25 years and everyone knows it. You're not adding anything new to the conversation.
So there is, where's the new thing you've just said that America's going to continue? I'm telling you it's not. Based on this current election. It's easy to see that. Say an exact time when America stops continuing, and let's see how ballsy you are. How exact time?
Look, yes, when the sun explodes, America will die. Okay, yes, every country
No, I didn't say America will die.
Mean anything. Give us a year.
America losing the #1 spot in world economies.
That's
GDP.
Been in the cards since the 1990s.
Well, yes, and now you will see some turning points happening.
Okay, great. So in the 1990s, I knew I would be in the 50s and 2020s. I didn't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that out.
Okay, so has America not lost some of the market share in that period? Yes. Now it'll be accelerated because the world's smaller. 1980s and 60s and 70s, you didn't have internet, you didn't have crypto, you didn't have blockchain. Well, the world was still round. The world is flat now.
There's a great quote, which is, how did you go bankrupt? Slowly at first and then all at once. That's the way everything happens. Okay, these factors build up, people are in denial, systems adjust, systems are dynamic, okay, but eventually the pressure gets so high on one side, it just overwhelms the other one. That's a normal, natural thing. Okay, when Rome fell, it fell quickly, okay, and yes, of course. No. Now, the U.S. has some, you're also kind of painting a position. I didn't say, obviously China's going to surpass the U.S. economy. I think it already has, actually, on purchasing power.
Not yet.
On PPP, I'm pretty sure.
Plus, in fact, I'm talking about global economy. I'm talking about global economy standing in the world, saying, right, who is the biggest, best economy in the world?
Okay, so if the renminbi was allowed to float freely, would the Chinese economy overnight be bigger than the U.S.?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
If the renminbi was allowed to freely float, would the Chinese economy be overnight larger than the United States?
Okay.
Don't dodge the question.
And I know why Rico's laughing. It's because America suppresses it. It threatens people to say, if you don't deal with our US dollar for global transactions, international...
that wasn't my question. If China lets the currency float freely, do you disagree that the Chinese economy would not overnight become larger than the US economy?
Well, yes, but it wouldn't be allowed. All the international banks and all this will not allow it. If it was allowed, absolutely it would.
Well, I think that was a hypothetical question. So
yeah, it was.
Yeah, thank you. You dodged. Okay, if the renminbi was valued truly,
America, if that happened, I will tell you point blank,
Again,
if
you're
it was
dodging.
like no, hang on. Stop being a judge. You're not on any time, okay? So look, it's
That
not
was a
an on-off
dodge.
switch. It's not an on-off switch if China was to do that. What kind of question is that? It's stupid. We're not on time here.
Well, it's not
China
really a stupid
will
question
not-
because what you're
China
doing is
will
you're
not-
uncovering the actual value of the economy.
China will not be given that carte blanche to say, okay, from tomorrow it'll be one, not in dollars. Americans wouldn't allow it. So it's a stupid even.
No, my question wasn't about resetting the rate. If they allowed it to float freely.
If you're allowed to float freely, you think that's going to be, what kind of question is that? You think it'd ever be allowed by the Americans?
You're dodging so hard and everyone knows it. Everyone knows you're dodging.
It won't be allowed. Everyone knows
Guys,
asking a
if
stupid
renminbi can
question.
float freely, any
Stupid
currency can float
Any
freely,
currency-
not just
That's why I said it's
not
a stupid
just-
question.
yeah.
It's a stupid question. You're not on a
even
time.
Bitcoin
Gordon.
can float freely.
You're not on time. Hello, I'll earn some more money from here. That's
So
a stupid
You know what?
question.
That's ad hominem when you're not actually addressing the point I made.
Because
You actually
Kenya-
Gordon,
give it-
no
give it to
offense, but that
Kenya.
was
Hang on,
too
give it to
obvious. You
Kenya.
guys are like, what Chinese yuan?
Give
Just
it-
Chinese yuan.
give it to
Like, what about the
Kenya.
rest of the world, man?
You're assuming I'm saying this from a U.S. patriotic point of view. I'm
Give
saying
it
this
to
from a
Russia,
math
give it
point
to
of view.
India, give it to any country, they will be the tops. It's not a right.
No? Okay. Are you saying that the Indian currency doesn't float freely?
It doesn't.
Doesn't.
Okay.
Get your-
Are you saying that the U.S. would stop India from doing that?
Have you ever been to India to do any transactions? You haven't.
You know, that's like you don't know
But
Greek
because
history
it
you were
is
born in
not
Greece.
possible. It's not possible. It ain't gonna happen.
And what did
You could give it
Anyway.
to Kenya. You could give it to
Guys.
Kenya. You could give
Guys,
it to
guys.
Nigeria, and it won't happen.
Just another stupid question.
Stupid-
Do you guys
yeah,
think
another
that
stupid
do you
question.
guys think that the voting system in USA is much more advanced than the voting system in India? Because I was looking at Ronnie Chang telling me how fucked up is the whole voting system in the US.
No, you gotta understand why it's set up the way it is, but it is also fucked up.
I mean,
Even
to me, it's a
with
stupid question, but I like to ask that to you guys because I have an Indian friend and a US American friend here. I mean, the Chinese and the Russian friend would just keep quiet and say, "Oh,
No, they have voting in China and
the
Russia,
voting
right?
system in US."
I
and
mean,
we're
they
quite
vote.
amazed."
Sergey, you're sharing a screen, right?
Yes, I know about that because I have another chances to stop this discussion and go forward. Please,
Send
your
some
turn,
questions,
because-
please.
Sergey is losing control of the
If-
whole
Sergey,
session.
you better
like,
watch out because
Sergey,
Maru's gonna
just
say a question
kidnap
stupid and
and talk
dodge
over
it.
the whole session.
Sorry. I'll ask another stupid question. Sergey, if Russian ruble was allowed free fall, do you think it'll be the biggest economy in the world?
I don't get your question once more time because it's independent. It's enormous. for me.
If the Russian ruble was given a free fall out there, do you think it'll be the
What is a
biggest
free
economy in the
fall?
world?
Free float.
Free
Yes,
float.
Not free fall.
Free float.
Yeah.
Free float.
Okay,
Do you think that would be the biggest economy then?
No.
Let me think about that.
No,
I mean, obviously no.
I think no. I think yes.
Next
because-
question, Catherine, take the show.
Yes, please. But I think yes, it could be.
First of all,
Of course it could.
thank you for your answers. I'd like to sum up and to remind you that to be a global economy means not only be great in numbers and GDP and any other numbers out there, it's also quality of life and quality of rights and freedoms available to different nations. And if China can overtake in some sense, it doesn't mean that people in China are experiencing or having the pleasure of having rights the same as in the US. So I think it's very important to remember that economy is not only about numbers, but it's also about the quality of life and rights and freedom. So it's like you can have a lot more startups in China, but they will most likely I'm trying to be respectful, will most likely be controlled by the government in the sense that in the US might not happen that way. So that's just to sum it up. And to sum up your interesting points, presidential election is not over. US is the most corrupt country among the most sophisticated countries. What else?
Bruce says.
but all of that.
I think we're just average corrupt. I don't think we're we're not in the Ivy League. We're kind of mediocre in the way we're corrupt.
I'm just quoting. I'm not like concluding in any sense. I'm just quoting what has been said. But all of that is apparently good for the crypto space, which brings me to my next question. I'm very interested to just a new piece of information that we've got just recently, and I think that Mru will probably tell us that it's again a part and another step of a corporate conspiracy theory, which he mentioned last time about the JP Morgan coin. So I'm pretty sure that you heard that, but I have to quote it here on air. The billionaire Stanley Druckenmiller says that he's placed a bet on Bitcoin. So he said that he's betting on Bitcoin, and let me just read the quote out loud that was mentioned on this, I think on the CNBC segment last night. Bitcoin could be an asset class that has a lot of attraction as a store of value to both millennials and the new West Coast money. And I own many more times gold than I own Bitcoin, but frankly, if the gold bet works, the Bitcoin bet will probably work better because it's thinner and more illiquid and has a lot more beta to it. That's what he said. My question is this obviously is this good news for the crypto space? Again, is it gonna are we gonna see a lot more investors, institutional investors coming into the space? And actually, thanks to Mru, I now have a question. What exactly does this might mean? Because he expressed an idea that a lot of banking institutions in the US specifically have this theory, and that they have been hedging Bitcoin and that they have been trading, but it has not been a common knowledge yet because they wanted to have bigger market share to themselves. So there you have it, Mru. What is your opinion on this comment? Is it good, or is there like a conspiracy theory behind it?
No, not really, because now I think they've accepted that Bitcoin is a store of value, and they've accepted now 3 years on, because 3 years ago when it tanked, they didn't want to accept it whilst they started collecting. So now they've started collecting. 3 years on, they'll say, oh yeah, isn't it lovely? Because they've all filled their boots up with it. They're in it, I stop. And let's ask Kirill his view. Because I said that last week, and I still stand by it. 3 years ago was the reason why it tanked. Who was buying? Those are the guys who are buying. Now they've woken up to say, oh shit, this Bitcoin isn't moving as fast as we thought, because it was supposed to be 50,000, 100,000, all these quotes we were getting. It hasn't. So now we've landed with all these coins. Let's increase the price. My view still remains the same.
Rico, what do you think?
Kirill.
Yes, yeah, thank you, bro. Actually, let me finish the previous conversation.
No, don't start that one.
Once you shout, I can't say anything. Once China and US will fight and do not care about Russia, we will grow fast.
Take it over. Yeah, because the ruble will be the next floated currency.
This is
Russia is undefined.
Kirill, you need to have more children there. You need more children.
Oh, okay.
You personally, you and every Russian like you needs to make more babies.
Gordon, stop it, please.
It's his time.
Okay. And a second one, the most happy countries, if you check the analytics of most happy countries, it's Nordic countries. It's somewhere in North. Why? Because all of them, it's average. For example, they don't have very rich guys. Even if they exist, they do not look like rich. They have cold weather and hot weather because they need to change. If it's not good, in summer it's very good. That's why my emotion changed immediately. Just think about it. So probably the best region in the world in future will be Siberia if nobody put money outside of the Siberia, because it's cool weather in summer and nice skiing in winter. Let me answer the Bitcoin questions. The more funds, there are a lot of funds from standard VCs investing inside Bitcoin, and they understand the structure, how it works. So due to mining, due to halving each 4 years that Bitcoin decrease the payments, they understand that they need to change US dollars, rubles, or whatever to Bitcoin, because they understand that we will half year, they will fix extremely high profit, and it's more profitable for them. That's why a lot of funds, they know the rules. It's like, you know, the rule of stock market. You buy the stock market at the beginning before it's floating up, and the fund understand it, and it's really future of gold, because gold some days it disappeared at all, because it's not like forever. For Bitcoin power, it could be disappeared only once each electricity disappeared. It has more liquidity. So and everybody from the funds and from global companies like Sequoia Capital, like JP Morgan or whatever, they understand that now time is to save some budget and double it. But they do it smarter way. Once everybody buying, they selling. Once everybody selling, they buying. Pretty simple logic. Any traders could show you the screen that each year you have the peak where the Bitcoin is more than before. If you invest, just invest for 3 years and you will be in profit, 100% sure. Just do not enter the Bitcoin market when it's 20, then you could enter when it's 9.
Actually, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one point, because I have to make it clear. The happy level, you know, the happy survey that you've mentioned, it has been done by different publications and magazine, and it's not, first of all, it's Nordic countries as like Norway, Iceland, and Finland. Siberia is not that. Siberia.
No, it's just my imagination, so probably fine. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because it's, I mean, obviously it is pretty close in the climate, but it's not. And it has been done based on different points. So, you know, the most, like, the happiest countries is not particularly, you know, it's very biased. So I'm not sure that that's like a very fair component to that. Okay, yeah, I just had to say that it's very biased. It has been done by different publications, and it had different components to that survey. Gordon, you want
So
to?
I want to pick up on two things you said. The Chinese are very smart. They do not measure their national rise or national rejuvenation purely based on economics and purely based on military. They have this concept, I'm basically supporting what you said. They have this concept called comprehensive national power. And they have all these different metrics that go into it. And some of those metrics involve soft power. That's why you've seen such a big sort of cultural push with the Confucius Institutes, the investments on Hollywood, and others. Some have borne fruit, some haven't, this, that, and the other. But yes, it takes a lot for a country to rise. But I think the sinews of almost all of that are your economic power. You know, at the long run, I mean, you need size, you need people, you need economy. You can't, you know, Netherlands can have $1 trillion GDP, but I don't see it conquering the world. So, but, you know, once you have the size and people and the size of the economy, the rest, I think, tends to follow, so long as your demographics are okay. I think the only thing that could potentially throw China off, that wouldn't necessarily throw India off, are Chinese demographics, which are, you know, it's the most rapidly aging society on the planet, them and Japan. So, but that's not going to really hit it until the 2030s. So I think they're almost certainly going to pass the US. And I think India's going to pass. And I think once they pass the US will never get back up in the top second or first position. It may even fall further. With respect to the gold comment, as compared to Bitcoin, you know, everyone thinks gold has objective value. Nothing has objective value. If we were all dead, gold wouldn't have any value. It only has value in human perception. You know, if aliens came down, they wouldn't know the difference of gold being valuable as opposed to silver. So you kind of have to look at these things from a design perspective. And Satoshi wrote at length about what the perfect currency would be. And Bitcoin's pretty close to that. It's finite. You can divide it up endlessly. It's free to hold, free to transport. It has all the characteristics that would make a currency good. It just doesn't have the history that gold has. It doesn't have the universality that gold has. But that's just a function of it coming out in 2008. It's not a function of it being wrong or bad somehow. We just didn't have the tools to build it before. So, you know, it sounds funny, but a single asteroid can make gold plentiful forever. You know, Chinese goes out there, you know, pull an asteroid into orbit. You know, it's worth several $1 trillion. There's like news about this. That could change everything. But that one asteroid won't change the 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be mined. And all the things about, you know, quantum computers, this, and another. Well, by the time quantum breaks Bitcoin, NSA codes will be hacked. Nuclear launch codes will be hacked. It's going to be like the last thing to fall. And we're going to have many problems before then. So I think long-term, just Bitcoin is fantastically functional as a currency. And that's why I think it will eventually outstrip gold. That's my opinion.
Okay. Rico and or Muru, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. So I can talk. My friend. So I can talk with some authority here because we have a gold-pegged coin. Okay. So why did we do that? And I agree with what Krill was saying. Gold has a value, intrinsic value, and it will be there in our lifetimes for sure. The thing that my friend over there said, when everybody dies, well, I don't think that can happen. The second thing, if an asteroid hits the world, would it create gold? Gold cannot be created by an asteroid hitting the planet. It's one of the few things that cannot be created. So
I'm saying an asteroid with gold.
Okay, yeah, but an asteroid cannot hit the world and say, oh, look, I've got gold here now. It's not going to happen.
Oh, really? You think asteroids don't have valuable metals in them and won't potentially be mined?
Do you know the amount of gold required to do this? It's impossible. Look at the amount of gold reserves there are in this world. The chances of an asteroid hitting the world, we are now going into...
You're taking it too literally. What I meant to say was
Gordon,
it's a
I'm
physical
speaking.
commodity.
Speaking. Okay, so
No, you interrupted me plenty. You know, if you can interrupt,
I haven't interrupted you once. Okay, so let me finish, then you can interrupt.
I think your comment was, no, that's stupid, no, stupid, no.
Gold cannot be created in the quantity that is currently in the world by an asteroid hit. So go and check that out, all right? And the chances of an asteroid hitting...
I'll check it out, and I'll drop in the Zoom chat.
Okay, so, and the amount of gold required from one asteroid hit, impossible. And the third point, when was the last time an asteroid hit the world and gold was created? In the last decades, centuries, thousands, millions of years. When did that happen? Go check that out.
I would actually say meteorites hit the earth all the time.
Gordon, you're a lawyer. You always twist words. So let me speak.
Okay, you know, again, that ad hominem that is not responsive to the
check it out. Just check it out and then talk.
There's accusations and then there's arguments.
Check it out and then talk. So I'm telling
you. Okay, I just dropped it in the chat.
I have a stupid question while he's checking it out. Muru,
yes.
From me, if you have money, would you buy your gold coin or would you buy Bitcoin? If you have the money, which one will you use to buy? Do you buy your gold coin or do you want to buy Bitcoin? I mean, it's free autism for you, bro.
You see, there is a very no. That's a very good question, and I've had that before. So, like any investor, no one puts all their eggs in one basket. Okay, rule number one. Rule number two: where's the next place? You look at hedge funds, any investment fund, they will not put everything in just Pfizer. They'll put it in multiple things. They'll look at the packing order of what's secure. So, cryptocurrency, absolutely, and Bitcoin, absolutely, I would put money in it. Anything that is pegged with any form of asset, it's been known for decades that asset values go up over time. End of story, be it property or gold, okay? So that's the next level that you would invest in. I hope that answers your question.
No, but my question is to you, Muru.
Yes.
If you have money, say you have 10 million, would you put them into Bitcoin or would you buy your gold coin?
I would do both. That's what I'm trying to say.
You do both.
I would not put all the eggs in one basket. Bitcoin, and I think Krill mentioned earlier, what if something goes wrong and electricity or whatever goes down and all that? What happens to Bitcoin? It vaporizes. Something could go wrong. Even
what happens to gold? Do you think you can get it in your bank and get it? Are you keeping it at home? And if so, can I have your keys?
No, they're in proper vaults, right? Which are
really so. Electricity goes, but you'll definitely get to those gold.
Okay, have you proof checked? Just go and do your proof check.
Yeah, I dropped it in the chat. Why don't you read?
Okay, where is it?
It's in the Zoom chat. It's in the Zoom chat.
Oh wow, Daily Mail. So I don't need to check that for a start.
Guys, yes.
All right, so if I do another one, and you actually, it's dodge, weave, dodge, weave. So if you had to take Rico's point, if you had 10 million and you're allocating,
does it say when was the last time an asteroid hit this place and dumped 5 million tons of gold? Is this the article say that? Does this article say what you?
No, your unique question that you just formed out of thin air, that article does not address it.
No, because I said, does this question answer it? And it's Daily Mail. If you know UK.
All right, so if I give you a Scientific American article about the objective fact the Chinese launched a rocket, would that do it for you? I mean, they did launch it.
I'll tell you what to do. Go and find when was the last time an asteroid hit the world and dumped 1 million tons of gold. Just find that out for me.
Try to understand the point I was making. Gold, while it's limited, is not finite in the same way that Bitcoin is.
And you said it's not finite because an asteroid could hit it and reproduce
by
gold.
way of example. Work with me.
Okay.
I mean, you're a smart guy. Use your brain.
It's not.
Okay. There's not so much gold that we know where it's static amount.
Use yours. When will an asteroid recreate gold? It's not going to happen.
When will we find more gold to mine? Unlike Bitcoin.
I'm actually.
But in South Africa, they find a new gold mine. Okay, the number of gold is not known. The number of Bitcoin is known. Which one makes it a better currency?
Look,
I have to actually
to avoid answering the question, right?
I have to jump in. I'm imagining
this can be a forever subject.
Yeah, I mean how it started and how it's going. Talking about our today's.
Listen, Rue and I are friends. We're going to get beer after this. This is like when Supreme Court justices fight and then they go hug.
Yeah, and then,
because it's fun to have a debate rather than a boring question and answer. Yeah. That's my view. And I'm down. And I know Gordon's the same, so it's no big deal.
Yep. Maybe that's why all of you here.
There you go. Because if everyone says, yeah, I agree with him and he's right, what a boring debate. That's not a debate. Anyway, carry on. Catherine, you were talking.
Yeah, but I mean, like we were talking about billionaires' comments, and then we turned to talk about asteroids, but which is pretty cool and funny. I hope Sergio likes it. It's again, as I've mentioned last time, it's much more entertaining and fun to have that sort of debates, whether just like like Bloomberg TV comments, questions, and answers. So I think my last question, or like a new segment for today, it's sort of from a legal perspective, and I have to read it out loud for you to give you a bit of a background. That Microsoft employee was sentenced to 9 years in the first, as IRS describes it, in the first US Bitcoin case involving tax fraud. So let me give you just a little bit of a background. A Ukrainian national has been sentenced to 9 years in prison in what the IRS is describing, as I mentioned, the first Bitcoin case with the tax component. So a former Microsoft engineer has been sentenced to 9 years for stealing more than $10 million in digital value from his past employer in the form of currency, stored value, or CVS, including gift cards. Volodymyr Kvashuk, a 26-year-old Ukrainian citizen residing in Washington, used the accounts and identities of his fellow employees to steal and then sell the CVS, making it appear as though his co-workers were responsible for the fraud. So again, he was given 9 years. According to the United States Department of Justice, over the 7 months of Kwashuk's illegal activity, approximately 2.8 million in Bitcoin were transferred to his bank and investment accounts. Kwashuk then filed fake tax return forms, claiming the Bitcoin had been a gift from a relative. So I guess my question is, first of all, obviously would be to Gordon, just do you think that this is a fair sentence, and how exactly those sentence decisions are based in this case? Is it based on the amount of Bitcoin, or is it like tax fraud allegation? Is it fair, and how is it decided in this case?
So I just read this news article today, so I don't know whether it's fair, and I don't want to shoot from the hip because I don't know the facts of this particular case. Sure, it has, in a way, it has nothing to do with crypto. I mean, someone mischaracterized what they were doing, took it from someone else that owned it, and then lied on their federal tax returns. Mm-hmm. You can do that. You can do that with cats and dogs and mice and cows, and it would still be a crime. The the technological gloss on it because they happen to do it with crypto makes it interesting for us. But tax fraud is tax fraud. Justice Brandeis said, everyone does right when they lower their taxes or when they minimize their taxes, but you're not supposed to lie, and you're signing those things essentially under penalty of perjury. And it sounds like he came up with a fabricated story about what happened. It's like, he would have been better just to shut up. But everyone thinks they're clever, but then it doesn't happen. But, I think related to that, just in the legal news, you had that case where I think $1 billion worth of Bitcoin got located. I think it was stolen from Ross Ulbricht's Silk Road, and Chain Analysis hunted it down and got restored. I mean, we're as more and more value goes into crypto, we're going to see more and more crimes involving crypto, but that doesn't make it crime oriented. People steal computers.
But for tax fraud, is it a fair sentence, 9 years in Washington?
It's not. It is high, in my opinion. But this person didn't, I think, took real proactive wealth hiding and obfuscation steps. I think it's high. I think it's message sending a little bit. I think it maybe is a little bit of the anti-crypto bias. But again, if these allegations are more or less true, this fine gentleman opened the door to the government abusing its power by going into that place in the first place. Is that, the phrase I use is they tempted the devil. Well, don't be pissed if the devil shows up and doesn't act exactly as you expected, okay? Because you're fighting a living, thinking enemy. So the point is not to even open the door. No. Is it particularly fair? No. Is what happened with Ross Ulbricht and Silk Road particularly fair? No. Was this guy running an illegal dark web drug ring and trying to take out hits on people and getting them killed? Yes, he was. So, I'm not overly sympathetic.
So
I love Ukraine.
So I guess my next question has two parts. First of all, how crypto assets are taxed in the United States, and then if Maru has an international perspective and an English perspective, and then how crypto assets are taxed. And should they be taxed? That's my second. If according to the philosophy of the industry and of the technology itself, right, it shouldn't be taxed because it's it's money that belongs to me, to the user. So that's sort of goes directly in contrast with what was the initial philosophy.
Right. So, hold on. I think the question was to me first, and then to you. Love you, buddy. Okay.
I think she said,
as a general rule in the United States, wealth is not taxed. As a general rule in the United States, wealth is not taxed, except in some cases where you have like a use tax in some states, or you can have inheritance, what's basically inheritance tax or estate tax, where it goes from one generation. But in the general sense, wealth is not taxed. What gets taxed is two things: it's income and capital appreciation. So if I have income, someone pays me $10,000, okay, I have to do an income tax return and I have to pay what's known as my marginal rate on that. And there's a certain rate that applies progressively depending on how much income I have. And then separately or related to that is when I hold an asset for over a year, okay, and it appreciates in value and I sell it, the delta or the difference between what I bought it for, which is the basis, and the final sales price, that's subject to capital gains tax, which is, it has its own tax rate. And then there's a few other niches like dividends are taxed at a certain rate. The capital gains rates in the United States have traditionally been lower than income tax rates, just so you know. Now, cryptocurrencies, the IRS has become very clear and it's kind of obvious. They're a form of property. Okay, they're property. They're like my cups, they're like everything. Foreign currencies held for investment purposes are a form of property. Okay. So when the general rule is that if you're buying and selling Bitcoin on a daily basis, you're day trading. Okay, that's going to be pretty much personal income. If you take it and you hold it for over a year and you sell it for a profit, that's going to be capital gains. The theory that crypto should not be taxed because it's money or it's out of the system, that's a nice theory, but that's not the way the tax rules work in the US. They're like property. Okay, the fact that a kind of property didn't exist when the original law was written doesn't matter. Is it property? Yes, fine. Okay, then the rules apply. And arguments to the contrary kind of are that sort of niche constitutionalist sort of stuff that sounds good to the people who are saying it and people who believe in that kind of stuff. But the moment you show up in court, they're like, yeah, okay, anyways, pay us. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Maru?
Please.
Of course.
I think you'd ask me first anyway, but that's
it's
by and
gonna
by.
go.
I think that in the world, including UK, there are few jurisdictions that actually say it's property. UK, by the way, has been toing and froing, has done that. However, that's one of the main reasons why you get all these other jurisdictions giving licenses and inviting people to create their companies and store their crypto assets over there in offshore jurisdictions. Because people, i.e. now taxpayers who've earned, paid tax on it, and adding to what Gordon was also saying, not only capital gains and appreciations and dividend tax, you even pay tax when you die, and even the money you give to your children to inherit, you pay tax on. So it carries on and on and on in such countries. However, my view, the world has become very flat, and that's why you see new jurisdictions like what Dubai is doing, for example, putting a new regulation for crypto assets and ownership of it at a tax-free kind of legal structure. So, what will happen, in my view, people who hold these assets will start looking at different structures in order not to pay such taxes on top of taxes on top of taxes. That's what the smart money people will do. We have a new person in there. I think he should speak, Enzo.
Enzo, my friend, my other friend. Where did Enzo go? Enzo, come back here.
Welcome. Have you been following the latest topic that we're discussing?
Yeah, I mean, we pay taxes as a fund. The fund is doing well, so we have to pay taxes. But we have a kind of offshore entity for an AI fund that we're going to be launching.
Exactly. Same here.
In Bermuda, and it's because basically we have investors that don't want, they're international investors. But me personally, even though we own that offshore fund under the FATFA stuff and all that, I mean, we don't have I still have to report. But I live in California. I call it the weather tax. But I'm used to dealing with these issues. I've always worked in regulated kind of entities, so to me it doesn't bother me as much. But I think that there's strategies and so on and so forth that people can apply that are not like tax evasion, but they're tax smart strategies.
Tax mitigation, Anzo. Tax mitigation.
Yeah, tax. It's like
tax limitation.
Tax attorneys for that. You have accountants for that, and they, the goal. The biggest problem here, I think, is that it should be more tax like property. So if you make a profit, and if I bought a house and I sold a house for a profit, I make on the difference I have to pay. But there is no real a death tax or the wealth kind of preservation issue. I think it's up to $5 million. So if someone passes,
it's pretty high.
Very high.
The exemption now is high, and you can plan well around it. It doesn't really hit.
So it's not as bad as everyone makes it. I think some of these other smaller kind of jurisdictions are the kind of canary in the coal mine type of approach, right? They'll do the except for the Caymans and Bermuda and maybe even Malta at some level, but a lot the larger governments are going to wait until now they're starting to do regulation a lot more effectively. We also even have right now we have the first SEC approved a utility token, a security token. It's a hybrid that's been approved for a company called INX. That's pretty interesting to watch because it shows that the SEC is now understanding, and the CFTC, they're starting to understand that tokens aren't just one size fits all, that the blockchain tech can be, or digital asset technology can be used for multiple asset classes. And in some cases, a hybrid of them. So I think people are starting to catch up. And, with guys like Paul, actually Tudor Jones stepping behind and talking about Bitcoin and actually Shamath, who's, the social capital person. I think when you see these larger players, the institutions, JP Morgan saying that institutional investors want to hold Bitcoin rather than gold. That's a big deal. When they put that out in a press release and a statement, That's a huge deal, and that's what's happening. So, there's $16 trillion, I think, in just U.S. funds, and pension funds and so on. So, or that might be global. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But, there's a lot of capital that wants to move into digital assets, and all this stuff about crime and all that. That's, JP Morgan just got its second fine. So, I mean, at the same time, you got Goldman Sachs paying fines, for money laundering. I mean, really, is Bitcoin that effective in money laundering versus some of the largest banks that have been doing it for 100 years? I mean, I don't think so. So
banks were built for money laundering. I mean, if you look at Danske Bank, it had like 100 billion. Danske Bank in Estonia, 100 billion, basically Russian funds passing through there. Don't tell me about Bitcoin.
This has nothing to do with us. This is just people just kind of, shading. This is just people trying to drive the price of Bitcoin down, to be honest with you, so that they can buy it.
I'm not sure how much more time we have, but if we do, Sergey, can I ask Carol? Carol, if I heard it correct, you're based in Russia, right? So can you walk us through how crypto assets are taxed in Russia? Because I've heard lately that they have been putting more scrutiny to the crypto assets and to the taxes paid involving transactions with crypto. Can you walk us through that?
Actually, as it's not yet regulated, and it will be finalized at the beginning of next year, in January, February. So it should be somehow, you should pay taxes after it. And it will be only for business usage. So the simple guys, citizens, it's not allowed probably in future to use Bitcoin at all. And this is what companies fight together with government not to allow it. Otherwise, we will lose the huge market of global market. Just for understanding, 30% of all exchanges in the globe, it's from CIS region, Russian-speaking guys.
I mean, so, the trade volume, right? The
yes,
trade.
And those volume will come to another countries, and they will go to VPN and change CIS to US or whatever. And
they will not change it to the US. No. So, even my cat got shocked by what you said. No, those maybe the Caymans.
Yes, it could be. So, and as I travel a lot around the globe and I see the whole picture, so from Asia perspective, from Dubai, from US, the government should understand the pretty simple question. Once they link KYC to Bitcoin, they could check the whole entire story of the finance of each citizen on the globe. Pretty simple.
Hey guys,
really? Is it possible?
Yes.
Like how many wallets do you have when you store your cryptos? Is the government able to screen everything?
If you mark that this is the only wallet which you have, and you put money officially Visa, MasterCard, and try to change it from one Bitcoin wallet to another, how you withdraw on something else if it's trackable?
Yeah,
that's if the whole thing was on blockchain. But the whole world is not on blockchain. It can be tracked. So just now, if you do multiple hops, the point I think Rico is making, when you have 10 wallets, to do multiple hops, nobody tracks it. You can't track it very easily.
You can't track it anyway. You just keep one official account,
and now with the
where
privacy,
my crypto is, and you have the rest still running and without people knowing it. So it's actually helping us creating something, and there's always a way around it.
Yeah, and also with the new Easy and the eShadow types of protocols, which are privacy-based protocols layered on top of that layer too, you can't trace even who the sender and recipients are. So they will always try in the blockchain crypto space to be a step ahead to get away from that very thing. KYC, AML, wonderful thing. In fact, we don't even accept someone without it. However, there will always be offshore structures, which is what I said, and Enzo also said. There will always be offshore structures for the people who hold, the tons of money. They will find ways not to do it.
Like Enzo.
And also, And also the other point someone made was about, this person getting caught. I think Catherine started that off. How many people get caught with drugs and, lots and lots of dollar notes in their basement and under beds? That is life. It's a lot less in crypto space at this moment in time than all that other fiat types of transactions.
But still, we are talking about future. Most people use cryptocurrency, and they want to be white and do everything is legal. And the government should support those portion of guys, because if you don't create extra wallet, you show your wallet, you track it, and you only pay and get money out from one Bitcoin wallet. So nice future.
It's called the Chinese digital yuan.
Has the Russian government announced that they have to actually have a ruble sovereign coin?
Crypto ruble. They plan to build crypto ruble. Yes.
Yeah, and the Chinese yuan. That's exactly what it's doing.
But it's been built already.
The central banks will also have it. Don't forget that the central banks are also creating their own digitized token, whatever their currency. But you know what? The fact is that 10-step thing or whatever some people might be doing, the analysis is just going to keep on getting better and better. And if Chainalysis or any of the other competitors, at the end of the day, I'm saying there's offshore entities, there are onshore entities. That's just the way the world works. But I don't know if it's as, but it used to be a lot more opaque. I think that opaqueness is going away. I think it's going to be very difficult, but you have to just, you play by the rules with where you give it. I mean, there's
the source of funds. Yeah, source of funds is getting stronger. I fully agree, Enzo. But the point here was that, the Bitcoin and the traceability of multiple wallet transactions, and I think Rico and me, we were on a panel, I don't know, 3 or 4 panels ago, when we said the Chinese yuan, that's what they're trying to do. They're even going to tell you, hang on, you're buying too many American products, we're going to block your wallet kind of scenario will happen, because then people will stop using it as well. So in the crypto space and the altcoin space, it's not going to be allowed.
Let me throw this out there also, though, with Financial Action Task Force recommendations from 2020 and AMLD 5 from the EU, the on-ramps and off-ramps and on-ramps between crypto and fiat and the crypto exchanges under the FAFT recommendations, they're getting more and more highly regulated, even for pure crypto to crypto transactions. And these are global. The AMLD 5 is obviously European, but the FAFT recommendations are essentially global. It is, unless you're existing in a purely crypto to crypto space, which is difficult long-term, it's going to show up, and there's going to be a human being who received that fiat at the other end, or that property or something. So I think it's tough to hide in the shadows. And to Enzo's point, I mean, offshore banking is kind of a done thing. The beneficiaries are being revealed. If you're a U.S. person, you can't get bank accounts in all the countries where you want to get a bank account, especially Switzerland.
Catherine, I think you should ask that question relevant to this point that he's making. There's a question over there about US blocking Binance and US accounts. Binance is going to do
blocking
this.
US accounts or US blocking
Binance? Binance blocking US accounts.
Yeah,
and a lot of people will follow. Ask yourself, why are people doing that? They're done with American accounts. The world is much bigger.
Well, I think to that point is because they try to be, they try to follow the law, and because there are a lot of legal ramifications on doing operations in the U.S. with the crypto space. But to answer Rico's point about the Russian ruble, it is being developed and tested, and it is expected to be launched and at least to be tried on certain basis in 2021. So it's in the process. But yeah, to one of your point, Maru, about what this particular arrest from the news that we've started with, I think Gordon actually meant and mentioned that it might indicate what sort of punishment is to come related to the crypto assets in a way, and tax fraud related to the crypto assets. It might, because it's pretty severe for tax fraud, I think.
Well,
It'll be the same as
some of that, but he did lie.
Yeah, for sure.
It'll be the same as any currency.
Sergey, I think we're pretty much done with the overview.
Yes, for sure, because you're completely right, because after 5 minutes or within 5 minutes, we are waiting for George. We're starting party from
another
Dubai.
nightclub. Oh, in another.
Yes. It's going to be the next step of nightclub. Yes, George.
Goodbye now, because it's I love you.
I'm sorry. We're starting what? I missed that. In 5 minutes, we're doing what?
George is joining. George Sebastian is joining us.
To say hello to everyone and his fan club and introducing them to
guys.
us.
We have a time. Yes, I need. I'm also want to comment something. I do not want to agree with Kirill, because Russian government. We're going to talk about tomorrow. Really, with Russian government, we have conversation. Just stay tuned with the TV channel, because we are going to talk about on my channel as well on a 5 p.m. after Gordon's event tomorrow. After that, right after that, yes, and we have to sort it out how it will be looks like before, because when people taking just do what you want to do, I do not want to live in that country where everyone, and me personally, under control every second. Really, I want to have alternative. I want to have my choice. I want to have to choice to go, to spend something, to buy something, to talk with something. Why I should every time say, my papa just tell me what me to do? Just please take away. And
China has the same problem.
Let me my own. Yes, finally we have something which has alternative, and all the governments around the globe find it. Wow, it's very good idea. Finally, you have it. Where you've been when Satoshi realized this white paper? Why you don't support it? Say, wow, it's wonderful idea. Now we're going to on that head. No, please take care of that. Take it off. Take your hands off, and do what you do. It's my point of view. I'm sorry for my aggressive maybe speech, but
but we all say the same thing. That's why it's happening in communist kind of countries. It's easier to implement it than a democracy type of country. It's not that easy to implement those sort of regimes, to say you will spend here, you will not spend here, you will buy this, you send this, why did you send this? All that doesn't exist in other parts of the world at the moment.
Rico, you are
guys. Sorry, I just got to read a headline here from this Epoch Times, which is not complete crap. They say 10,000 dead people returned mail-in ballots in Michigan. It ain't over.
I'm sorry, what source was that? I'm just like
the Epoch Times, which is there. Here, I'll drop it I'll put it into the chat.
Yeah, I saw something, Gordon, this morning about a software glitch that has affected 49 states on engineering.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The software is actually engineering it. It's screwed up over there. Sorry.
With all due respect to the Russians, we don't need you to hack us. We can hack ourselves.
You don't.
We need hackers. Yes, that's right.
We can hack ourselves. We don't need your help. We don't need like Clever Bear or whatever you guys are doing to us. So just sit back and laugh. Like
we're sophisticated enough. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the best people to really screw ourselves up. So,
Sergey, you were asking me something just now?
Yes. Yeah, I'm just eager to know what's your position about all of this stuff, because from your perspective, it's very interesting. I know that is deep night on your side, but please share with us something interesting. What's going on in Asia perspective, because it looks like Asia one step farther, yes, and we are going behind them. Just tell us a little bit before George. He's already here, but it's okay.
Oh, he's not here yet. Okay. But I think Muru made a point just now that the Chinese, as a communist country, try to regulate all these things, but it's actually making the Chinese people much more passionate about cryptocurrency in a way.
Absolutely.
Which is why it's actually a good thing for the space. And the more you want to regulate it, the more people want freedom.
And the more it will get deployed, right?
Exactly. Look at all the shitcoins being issued from Chinese groups of people and
losing it overnight. Absolutely.
And then Josh is going to tell us one of the DeFi things that he's working on as well.
Another nightclub event. Oh, George.
Not a nightclub event. This is.
Yeah.
It's the same nightclub.
It's
It's the same nightclub as last week.
Same one. Conrad,
Same
is
one.
that
Well,
Conrad?
I'm the Opera House, yes.
And
Look,
George
look.
joining us from the same club. He
No, it's not a club. What does it say there? Forbes, Bloomberg. Oh, that says Echo X.
Georgie, do you live there? And if you're held hostage, please blink.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, no, George has
We
got
can't
a
see you
George
blink.
has
It's
got
too
the
dark
burqa.
over there.
He's got the burqa on.
We can't even see you blinking.
Ah,
Oh, that's
good.
better.
I'm here.
That's better.
You know what? I see that George is outside not wearing a mask, so I'm very jealous.
Okay, no problem. You're welcome every day. This
Oh,
is
man.
my house. We've been doing this for 2 years, okay? So
Okay, George, are we going to keep it
Fine.
professional? Let's
Not
keep it
very
professional.
Years.
this is the point.
Ask
So
George
how's
about
the discussion
taxation.
going?
You can ask him about the tax evasion
Yeah.
structures. You can ask him.
Okay, we do
How to
everything.
do it.
So we have a few new important guests today. There's Doctor.
We can't see
How are you?
anything, George. George, we can't
It's
see
very
anything.
dark. No, they cannot hear you, so I have to talk. Well, you know, is it the
Your
Zoom?
lighting.
Yeah.
Your lighting.
I asked them to put off the lighting. What can I do? I'm trying my best. So this is a good colleague for many years.
Hello, hi, how are you? Who's that?
Is that, yeah.
It looks familiar.
I'll introduce you. Go ahead.
Hi, how are you doing?
They can
Oh,
hear you.
yeah, hi, hi,
This
hi.
is Dr. Span here.
Yes.
I'm a
Hi.
colleague of George from several years. We have been a common speakers in several conferences.
Oh, good luck to you.
The similar stuff.
Good luck.
Helping different international companies
Very good. Okay.
in the public sector, specifically in the smart cities areas.
George is all dark. You cannot
Smart
see.
city.
That's better.
Anything in
That's-
smart cities in more than 18 countries,
Very good.
specifically public sector, you can contact me.
Okay. Is this the advertising channel now, Sergey?
Yeah. No.
Because we've been on it for 90 minutes. This is the
Do
advertising.
you guys buy
This is
Bitcoin
the
over there?
advertising session for George.
That's it.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna plug this. And Sergey, I hope you're on. Just
Paid
apropos
advert.
this topic,
Is it
tomorrow
United
my
States,
guest is all about
Moscow?
asset protection.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are you Democratic or Republican?
They want to know if you're Democratic or Republican.
Oh, we don't. I'm international.
International.
That's a
I'm
diplomatic.
whoever
I
says the
know.
policy is right. I don't
He's
care
a,
whether
he's
it's
a
Dem
businessman.
or Republican. I don't care whether it's Dem or Republican, as long as the policy is right. And I don't think Biden's policies are right, if that tells you.
So he is a Republican, so kind of.
Yeah.
Same
No,
here.
no, not really.
Not
His
really.
policy is
Okay.
right.
I can't say what I am because I'll lose most of my friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
no
He's
problem.
another
It's
Republican.
always a
Another
Who
Republican.
doesn't like Kabbalah?
Okay, he's got a. That's good. He's got a good company there.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
to see you guys.
Pleasure.
Democrat,
Okay,
Democrat.
we'll go around. We'll go say hello.
Okay,
Hey.
George, are you going to answer some questions, or you just going
Yes, I am. I'm here to answer all the questions you
only
have.
for the advertising slot?
No. I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Okay.
And today we have some important people. We have here
Look, you see, he's doing
Dr.
advertising.
Sami. Dr. Sami is into stones. We have a famous producer from the United States, I guess.
Well, hey, doctor, how are you?
See,
Blessing, my brother.
he's a
How are
doctor.
you?
Hello.
Dr. Maru.
I'm producer Timothy. With
Producer Timothy from Hollywood. So today Hollywood is in the house.
How are you?
New York.
segment. It is a commercial segment.
Oh my God, what
Are we
happened?
going to do
Just
some
a normal
questions?
place. So why are you guys not coming?
You changed your
We
name?
invite everybody.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is from Moscow.
Oh, Moscow. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. Finally.
Yeah, that's Moscow there.
Oh, we got more people all over the world. You guys
All over
are
the world,
lovely.
from New York to
New York and Hollywood here,
Yeah,
man.
and
You're
Dubai.
lovely, my brother.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We're talking about the elections.
Oh my God.
We'll skip the election part. Well, I don't
No,
care.
we had a very heated election part. You
As long
missed
as
it.
he doesn't look like Johnny Depp right now.
Johnny Depp. So that's the comment. That's the smart one. So as long as it's not Johnny Depp, everybody else is good.
Perfect.
Have you finished, George?
I am. I'm all yours now. Please. What's the question?
Until the next guy who comes through and says, hey, hello.
No. What's the next question? I have a whole bunch of people to say hello to.
Okay, but
Please.
let's stick to this. All right.
I really don't.
What's the question?
Catherine.
I'm all yours.
Catherine.
Please.
Sergey, can you guide us a little bit? Are we doing? Are we continuing the new segment right now? It's just
Actually, we already officially has finished. But now we can.
It's a George. It's the advert section. Don't you get it? This is the advert section.
All right, guys, I'm sorry. I need to bail out.
Yeah.
Rue, I love you. You're my brother. I can't wait to hang out in person.
Yeah, we'll do that, bro. But look, by the way, I read just for the record, I read your article you just posted from MSN, from Microsoft.
I posted 3 articles.
Okay, I just looked at that one. And it says in there, I was just reading it, but nowhere in that article it says that the asteroid is going to be dumped onto this world with gold. Yeah. And it says it's a test that's happening. And the world is saying this shouldn't happen to go there and exploit gold or iron or any other metal over there. So it's a test. In our lifetime, I don't think this will happen. And to even bring 1 ton of gold from an asteroid back onto planet Earth, let's get back to the real world.
Again, my point was gold, the quantity is not known.
Okay, so tomorrow we switch the electricity off, Bitcoin ain't going to exist.
No, please
not known. So let's not start there.
Okay, anyways, listen, Rue, you can talk shit about me when I'm off. Great to see you. Love you.
Actually, you know what?
Guys, fantastic show. Rico, you're great. George, I'm sorry I only got you for a little time. Enzo, if you're still here, I miss you.
We should do a one-on-one Zoom, all right? For one of
I would love to. You're my friend. I want to see you in Kiev.
Yeah, we'll do that. Catch you later, bro.
And Malta. Thanks, guys.
Hey, guys, yes.
Good job. Well done.
I have to say you all, my big pleasure have you today. Yes, very interesting discussion for me personally. I'm sure that for you as well. I want to say you not goodbye, just we can stay tuned, but we can go. I will let you go because now we are on the show with George as well. Guys, I'll join
you tomorrow.
Yes, I will join you tomorrow as well. I think all of you can join to the Gordon Einstein. Gordon, please share with us your link. Yes.
I'll put it in the chat. Cool.
As well for tomorrow, I will join another event concerned to the crypto rebel. I will share that ideas, all that conversation with you. If you're somehow interested, because we have to talk about it. We have to tell governments, we have to speak with them on some way or somehow, but we have to do that.
All right. Catch you later, buddy.
Rico, Rue, George,
see you.
Catherine as well. Yes.
Catch you later.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Sergey.
See you guys.
See you guys.
It's a great pleasure to be here. Always. Thank you.
Okay. George, we can go to the party. It's not over really because we're
I'm here. Well, I'll take you around. So any questions you had today, or you're already at the intellectual part of the discussion?
We have question about what's going on around the globe, and the last one it's about Binance restrictions to the Americans. I don't know how it's concerned to your side, but it will be very, very interesting why Binance has restricted or has banned accounts for Americans. Maybe you have information about that, or just can comment for something.
No, I don't have details on that, and I don't want to speculate about it, but definitely this restriction has indirectly not been new. As if you know, we have been doing ICOs for the last 7 years. Mm-hmm. And anytime we do an ICO, especially ICOs that have happened around the Middle East or Singapore, US has always been restricted from actually investing in those ICOs in the first place anywhere. So this kind of restrictions are not new. So as long as you can prove that your address was from somewhere else, they will actually let you invest in those ICOs. So this is just another continuation of this ongoing SEC regulatory issues. I do not think this is anything per se to do with Binance, but if Binance does not comply with this, SEC will probably end up shutting down Binance. So Binance wants to avoid any kind of issues. That's it. It's as simple as that.
Okay, and actually, we are really get afraid of coming year because, for example, in Russia, there will come some kind of regulations about crypto enthusiasts, about holders of the crypto, maybe what's going on in Dubai or what's going on in other countries, because here we really get scared because we have somehow been jailed if we do not, spreading information about money with cares. Yes, I know you got the question.
Hi, hello.
Yeah. This
With
is
George.
one of the crypto enthusiasts. We have lots of those here. He comes here only because he invests in crypto. So
Oh, perfect.
Dubai is full of these.
I'm looking for advice from Mr. George for one of the big projects which is coming from US.
See?
He's busy.
I will be free shortly.
He's not getting time.
So they come here all for advice. Shall we buy this token or that token? Why is this token good? Why is that token not good? We don't give away financial advice. However, we do give hints of the risks associated with the various projects, how good the team is, how good is the rollout of the project, how solid is the potential solution that the project is launching, and then the people have to make that decision by themselves.
Okay.
One thing that is very interesting, and I wanted to just to make a point, people that are
Something happens with the internet. George, you with us? Guys, Guys, I want to
Sorry for the interruption. What I was saying is that in the United States, if you are a normal, you can say, home investor, you have no experience, you basically are not allowed to invest in normal products in which you do not understand. So that really means things like ICOs and others are completely removed out of these level of investors. If, however, you're a registered investor, you know how to read prospectus, you know how to read financial statements, then there's concepts like Reg D and so on, in which you can raise money for organizations, but only this level of investors is allowed to participate. So that really means that you can say there is two tiers of investors in the US. You can say the institutional and certified investors that have free access to all the levels of investment. And then we have the, you can say, everyday investor, which is then limited to a much smaller set of products and capacity in investment. So in the US, SEC protects this entire infrastructure.
Okay, perfect. I got your point, George. Very interesting. Guys, we have to finalize today's event. George, thank you for your connection as well. Very interesting persons around you. Yes, very nice to meet all of them in very interesting place. Yes, in Dubai. Guys, I want to remind you that in 3 days in a row, we had 3 events. Tomorrow, Gordon Einstein about attorney, about laws, which are around crypto. The second one, we're going to talk about crypto ruble. And the third one, we're going to meet each other live on the 13th of November on Friday. Finally, I will let you know about our next events. I will let you soon, and we meet each other in live. I'm eager to see all of you together. Guys, today is over. Thanks a lot. It's last, but not least our rest. George, thanks a lot for your time, for your connection. See you.
My pleasure. So cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.